Man, that was a good show today. But guess what? We're still here. For those brave enough to hang around, man, are you in for a treat? Welcome to the Gun Talk After Show. This is where we exhale and loosen up a little bit and maybe handle some of the issues that were either too strong for the radio or maybe that we just didn't have time for. So let's get Tom back in here along with show producer Jim Kinsey, Michael, and Michelle. Now, the Gun Talk After Show. Take it away, guys.
All right, we're now in the after show. Tom Gersham here, but we got some folks on hold. We got a bunch of people milling about in the studio. We have Michelle. Hi, Michelle.
Hello, Tom.
How are you?
I'm awesome. You?
Good, good. We got the keeper of the group truck, which is we're all doing the death watch on Michael's truck. How are you, sir?
Oh, good. It only had one toe this week.
Is that a good week?
That's pretty good. That's better than last week.
When you have only one toe. And then, of course, Jim is over there doing... what does Jim do? Does anybody actually know?
Well, I call AAA for Michael.
He does his hair.
On speed dial, do my hair, my nails, little tanning.
Okay. That's a good thing. That's a good thing, you know. I want to tell you guys, I have gotten so many emails from people. First, a lot of people have many, many interesting suggestions on how to kill Michael's truck. I never knew that there were that many people interested in such a subject. But also, a lot of people who really... they connected with our conversations about safety, and they're sending their stories about, I had an ND, I did this, I did that when I was young. And it's very interesting because it just points out once again that if you're not just crazy fanatical about the safety, you're just not paying enough attention. So I just want to touch on that just for everybody who's listening to go, I don't care what the situation is. You know, if somebody checks a gun and then they hand it to you and you check it again. I had somebody say that somebody in a gun store got offended. They checked the gun, handed it to him, and actually to his young son. And his son opened the action, looked at it, and the guy said, "Hey, I just checked that gun." He went, "Yeah." And this father said, "Yeah, but it was like one of my proudest moments because the son did exactly what he was supposed to do."
I would have looked at the clerk and said, "Are you hiring? You should be soon."
You might want to polish up your resume, dude. There you go. Let me jump into, I want to finish off this idea of bear protection. Ross has called in. He's on line 4 out of Huntsville, Alabama. Hey, Ross, thank you for your patience. How are you?
Good. How you doing?
Good. We just kind of touched on this story of this guy who was charged by the feds for shooting at a bear that was charging him in Glacier National Park. And, you know, some people carry guns for protection when they're out and about. What do you think?
Well, let me say this first. I've gone hiking in Alaska and Yellowstone and the Smoky Mountains. And I always carry some type of firearm with me, not really just for animals, but, any type of undesirable people that might be lurking around.
Yeah, the two-legged predators. Yeah.
Sorry?
So the two-legged predators.
Yeah. But, the first time I was up in Alaska, it was right after they passed that federal law that allows people to carry firearms in national parks. Mm-hmm. And I remember going on the bus through the national park and coming upon what almost looked like a crime scene, but it was actually the first case where someone had used a firearm in Denali National Park and had killed a grizzly bear. And, in Denali there's not a lot of thick woods, but there is thick brush.
Right.
So it's very easy to lose visibility of what's around you. But I think what gets lost in a lot of people's minds when they're out and about is that they feel like the firearm is a safety net. And so, when I read stories about people, shooting animals, fearing for their life and that sort of thing, I kind of wonder, always what the exact circumstances are, because these are, in my opinion, these are just majestic, wonderful creatures. They, you're in their home, basically. And I feel like that people should really not go into these situations thinking that, hey, if there's any trouble, I'll just use my gun. I really think that there's a need to try and, on both sides of the argument, try and get down to better training or better understanding of what you really need to do to prevent that type of situation. And when I was up there, I was in Denali by myself for 6 days, and the whole time, I mean, I had some run-ins with a few animals, but I never had any type of aggression or anything like that.
Let me jump in here, because I don't disagree with anything you've said. I think it's exactly like having a carry gun in protection against, city critters, whereas this is not your first line of defense. It's actually your last line of defense. You should have, decision-making. You should have situational awareness. You should be able to have multiple ways of trying to get out of a situation. You should know how to do that. In the case of bears, I don't care if you're carrying a gun or not, you should have good bear protection pepper spray with you. The gun is simply there if everything else fails. And that's, it's gotten to where, okay, this is bad. He's, chewing on my leg, or he's chewing on my buddy, or whatever. But yeah, I mean, you want to avoid it. You want to make sure you're using good bear-proofing techniques for food and everything else when you're camping. And so I don't think we're at all in disagreement here. I think we're on the same page completely.
Yeah, well, I mean, most responsible gun owners are like that. But, when they passed that law, I can remember a bunch of people, they just, a lot of people brought them in as a safety net. Mm-hmm. And for me, I would almost be walking through the woods with a bullhorn to let anything know that I was there. And then, obviously, even at night, storing food half a mile away or however far away, mm-hmm. and then making sure that I wasn't putting myself into any type of situation like that. So, I feel really bad that someone fears for their life, gets put into that situation, and then has to do that. And I also want to say that it doesn't make sense the way the current law, I believe, is set up. Because my understanding is that the federal law allows people to carry firearms, but then the states have the ability to come in and say, well, you can carry a firearm, but it's illegal to shoot it. That just doesn't make any sense, and I think it creates
that's right. Situation. You could have a car, but you can't actually drive it. That makes a lot of sense too. Hey, Ross, listen, I got to keep moving here, but I appreciate your comments. I appreciate your call, guys. I'm reminded of my friend Jim Reardon in Alaska. When I first got to Alaska, I was living up there, and Jim had been the outdoor editor of Alaska Magazine for many years, Alaska Sportsman. He had taught wildlife management at the University of Alaska in Fairbanks, been out in the field there, and I mean, he knew, and I said, Jim, I need to talk to you. I said, I know, I'm from the South, man. I know cottonmouths, I know alligators, I know stuff like that. I don't know bears. What's the deal on bears? How do I protect myself? He said, well, it's pretty simple. He says, I have a very simple rule. I said, okay, what's that? He says, I don't go into bear country without a gun, a rifle. I said, okay, what's bear country? He said, anything that's not paved. And I specifically said, what about the national parks? Because at the time you couldn't carry in the parks. He says, I don't go anywhere I can't carry a gun. And I mean, this is a guy who had shot bears, had guided bear hunters. He had bears jump up in front of him where he had to shoot them. Been there, been a game warden, done the whole deal. His deal was, if I can't carry a gun there, I don't go there. I said, okay, good enough for me. That'll work. So, but I like that one. What's bear country in Alaska? Anything that's not paved.
Even so, then, they'll be in your garbage can, they'll be in your garage. You don't know.
Yeah, we had them in our neighborhood when I lived up there. Had walking around next to the schools.
Dub bears.
Yeah, you got bears?
Dub bears.
Okay. Yeah, your Lions just tore up my Saints, man.
Oh, what a shame.
That was just not kind.
First Michael's truck, then the New Orleans Saints.
That's right. I said the Lions and the Christians.
One of them is more important.
And you don't care. Is it hockey season yet, Jim? Or
That's all that matters.
I don't.
Yeah, okay.
I don't really follow hockey. Competitive painting is more interesting to me.
Puff tiddlywinks. He's a manly man.
Them's fighting words. Goodness gracious. So, Michael.
Yes, sir.
What did you get?
I got a new pistol today.
A revolver.
I did. I got a Ruger LCR. I really like this gun, man. I've never fired one before this afternoon, actually. I bought it having never fired one, but I got to handle it. I love the feel in my hands and the trigger.
Tell them how you got it.
No.
Yeah.
That's
Just
the
get
cool
the whole
part.
story, man.
I was offered to go to a pig roast. I love pig roasts. So it was $30 a ticket. It was for the PRCUA, the Polish union here in town. Mm-hmm. And they had a fundraiser, and it was $30 entrance and include your food and everything. And they had a table raffle, but the ticket also included a desk raffle or a house raffle. And we were there, and I got called into work, actually, so we had to leave a little early. We ate. Food was awesome. Got to hang out with really cool people. And then I get a phone call from a buddy of mine saying, you might want to come back. You just won a gun.
Holy cow.
I said, no way. You're pulling my chain. At first, I responded to the guy, well, congratulations, man. And he's like, no, you won it.
Cool.
Okay. But it wasn't the revolver.
No, I won an LCP.
Okay, but you didn't want that one.
I didn't. No, and it was cash value. So I went to the gift certificate was for Gander Mountain. I went there this morning and saw the LCR sitting there. This was used, but it was significant cost savings over new. And I picked it up and I fell in love with it immediately.
That's great feeling revolvers.
It's so light. It feels like it's half the weight it should be.
Okay, but I hear that not everybody in the studio is a fan. Michelle, do you not like that revolver?
I don't like it because it's too lightweight. It's not comfortable for shooting. No. Obviously, it's not a target type of gun, so what it's designed for is great. But in my hand, being much smaller than Michael's, it is not a comfortable fit for me.
Right. That's the most important thing.
Interesting? Mm-hmm. And it's one of those deals. It's why we say you have to put your hands on the gun, because I love them, Michael likes them, and Michelle, who definitely knows her way around guns, is saying that one doesn't fit your hand right, doesn't feel good to you.
No. If it didn't have the finger grooves in the grip already, it might be a better appeal for me. But with that forced size... And
it's funny because that's the first thing I noticed that I liked.
Yeah.
Okay, I got a product for you then. At the show this week, the folks at Ergo Grip were showing us a new Ergo Grip for the LCR.
Really?
Yes.
Now, is it like thicker?
Oh, yeah. It's bigger, thicker. I don't know if you're familiar with the Ergo Grip for revolvers. It is a weird-looking, weird-feeling thing when you first put it in your hands, and then you try it, and you go, oh, I kind of get that. It positions your hand at a good... It changes your grip. But they're pretty neat, and they help to reduce recoil.
This thing hurts
or
to
at least
shoot.
felt recoil. So.
It hurts. I mean, it stings.
Well, look, you're shooting a thing that weighs, like feathers, and you got this explosion going off in your hand. What did you think was going to happen?
Oh, I was expecting some good kicks, so I'm not disappointed.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and the other thing is keep in mind, I mean, this is something you're going to go out to the range. Hey, let's shoot 1,000 rounds.
No, absolutely
something
not.
that's going to save your life. You're never going to feel a kick.
Why do you think that somebody sold it used?
Because they couldn't shoot it.
Because they couldn't shoot it. That's exactly. I'm telling you, the best deals in guns are snub-nose revolvers. Because people go out and shoot them, and they go, ooh, that's not fun. I don't like that, and then they go sell it. Now, it works perfectly well, and it's great for what it was designed for, but it's not designed to go out to the range every Saturday and shoot.
No, but it's got one of the best triggers I've ever felt with a double-action only revolver. It's really crisp and clean and smooth and very predictable.
Yep, it is. They just did a great job with it.
Yeah.
Except for me.
Jim can't shoot it.
I had two cylinder.
Oh, that's right. You were short stroking it. You know what it is? You're probably not going far enough forward with your finger before you pull the double action pull again.
Because I got semi.
Yeah, you can hear it, actually. There's a reset.
Mm-hmm.
Right there. Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
There, and he wasn't letting it go that far forward, so he was kind of skipping. I can make it skip to the next cylinder, too, right? Like that.
And I've done that. And, of course, then when you do that, now you've skipped over a round, and then you go bang, bang, click, bang, bang, click, 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 click.
Bang.
You got to work your way all the way back around to it again.
It's great for target training and panic training and simulation of dry firing there on your own. It's tremendous practice.
Well, I mean, I I do like revolvers, generally speaking. I mean, I tend to carry semis, but I do like revolvers a lot because, generally speaking, I mean, it's probably the most reliable gun. If you happen to shoot and the hammer falls, internal hammer in this case, on a bad round, it goes click, you just pull the trigger again and you cycles a fresh round underneath the hammer. So
right,
there's
absolutely.
something to be said for that.
You know, you don't have to, in my opinion, you don't have to run as much self-defense ammo through it as you would with a semi-auto to make sure it's going to work properly.
Yep,
So,
exactly right.
I put 5 through it and I'm happy.
Let me get line 3 in here. Heiko is out of Carson City, Nevada, before we go to our break. Jerry, don't go anywhere. We're going to get to you. But I want to get Heiko in there. How are you, Heiko?
I just got out of the pool Friday, and I guess you called in to Jerry Evans here at KKFT 99.1.
Ah.
And I missed the call, what you were talking about.
Well, actually, Jerry sent me a note. I was in Little Rock, and it's like, 6 o'clock in the morning, and he says, hey, you want to be on the show? I go, yes, sure. What are we talking about? I don't know. But evidently, I'm trying to remember there was a local issue, and he was asking me about it, and it was one of those rare times I'm going, I don't know, man, you're on the scene, and it's a local thing going on. And
okay.
I'm for the life of me, I'm trying to remember what it was about.
Okay, maybe it was about the tax issue. They were trying to,
That's
like, if I got a gun broker or a gallery of guns and I send it to a local FFL, I guess they're trying to tax and go back and do an audit on the FFL dealer all the way back to eternity or something.
Yeah, in fact, I wanted to bounce that off of Michelle. Here's what's going on. The state tax people in Nevada are, number one, they're saying that the gun stores have to collect and pay sales tax on the fees they charge for background checks. And then number two, they're saying they have to pay sales tax when they do a transfer for somebody on the entire value of the gun. So if they bought something off a gun broker, it comes to your store and you do the transfer for them, do the background check for them. Say it's a $1,000 gun, you have to pay the full sales tax on that. And beyond that, they've gone to stores and said, okay, in the last 5 years, here's what you have taken in that you haven't paid. You owe us $350,000 in back taxes.
But is that transaction not made directly from the purchaser to gun broker person?
Of course it is.
So the store isn't even handling the money.
That's it. The store never got the money, but the tax people are saying, but you still have to pay us the tax, even though you didn't get paid on the gun.
No, that should be the person's obligation who purchased the firearm to do that, or the seller, either way.
But you know how it works. I mean, state sales tax, they make you the tax collector.
True.
Even though it actually is the person who's buying it should pay it, but they require you to collect it and then send it to the state. So they're saying, you didn't collect this, but you still owe it to us. So, yeah, I know it should be on the seller. Too bad. It's in your records. You got to pay us.
Wow. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. Well, so I immediately called the National Shooting Sports Foundation and said, hey, guys, are you aware of this? They were not. And, of course, they're the trade agency for gun stores and gun manufacturers. So they're now on it. I can't imagine that this would stand, because now doing a background check, that would be a service. A lot of states don't even charge sales tax for services, do they?
No. In our state, it's just something that has to be done, and it's not a chargeable service. It's a must-do. It's a law. We have to call that background check in. So there's no fee associated with that whatsoever. So
you don't now. But now, if at a store, if somebody comes in and says, "Okay, I'm buying a gun, I'm having it shipped in here," a lot of stores will say, "Yeah, we'll do that transfer for you for $25 or $50 or whatever." Right. There might be a transfer fee just to accommodate the in and out paperwork and tracking that you have to do. But other than that, there's no fees associated. Yeah, and the state's saying, "Nope, you owe us sales tax on the $50, and you also owe us sales tax on the entire value of the transaction, even though you didn't get the money for it." Yeah, that's astounding. It is. That's a shame. Well, it's extortion, really. Well, thinking, okay, well, your typical store, if you said presented suddenly with a $350,000 tax bill, would just simply go out of business. Absolutely. I was going to say, this is just another way of getting in the back door of eliminating gun sales. Yeah. Especially, I mean, intercommerce on the computer is huge. I know it is. A lot of people are selling and buying. Oh, tons. Yeah. So I don't know where this is going to go, but that's what this was about. That's what that, Heiko, I appreciate the call. Thank you for that. That's what that was about. I'd forgotten. But, yeah, Jerry Evans at KKFT, great station, by the way, in the Reno, Carson City area. He was all over that. I get a lot of stories from Jerry. He fills me in and says, hey, guys, here's something that's going on you need to know about. So in this case, he was able to alert me, and though I didn't know about the details of it, I was able to take the story and present it to the national group, and they're all over it because you can't have this. If this thing spreads, every state is hurting for money. And you start allowing the state tax agency to go after gun stores to hit them for sales tax on these transfers that are coming in from other states, it could get ugly because they'll definitely go after it. Anywhere they can find money, they're going for it.
And yet we have the choke point going on, which in this aspect, it is collecting the tax money to be given to that state, and they're wanting to go in and basically shut them down. Yeah.
Yeah. Makes no sense at all.
No, the American dream, that up in smoke, retail stores.
Exactly right. Tell you what, this is probably a perfect time to take a quick break here. Jerry, don't go anywhere. We're going to get to you because I think you're onto a story that we need to talk about. And then we're also going to yak a little bit about some of the guns that I saw at this show and kind of where we're going from here. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
In November, a few races for U.S. Senate could determine whether more anti-gun laws are in our future and whether your rights will be infringed. Will be infringed. Don't risk your rights. The future of gun rights is in your hands. Be a gun voter. #GunVote. For more information, visit gunvote.org. Gunvote.org.
You are one among many, a growing brotherhood, and yes, sisterhood, of those who choose a concealed carry lifestyle. Those who believe the Second Amendment is as vital to our freedom today as it was more than 2 centuries ago. Those who embrace the natural right to protect themselves, their loved ones, even perfect strangers, should danger arise. You are one among many, and we've got your back. Carry Taurus and carry on. TaurusUSA.com.
We are back. It is the after show. Michelle's here, Jim's here, Michael's here, and we got Jerry on hold here. We'll get to him in just a second. Look at some of the new cool guns. Oh, here's one I ran across. You ever see something and you end up just scratching your head and going, what? I saw at the show somebody's making an AR-15 chambered for .30-06.
Why do you want one?
Why?
Well,
I mean, come on. We already have ARs in
the AR-10s.
308.
Yeah.
Right? And the 308 and the 30-06 are ballistic twins. They do the same thing. Why go to the effort to make an AR that will shoot the longer cartridge when you can shoot the shorter cartridge? It works perfectly well, which is cheaper ammo, more available ammo now in 308 than 30-06. Does this fall into the category of just because you can do it?
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
Yeah, well, plus guys that reload 30-06 and have had them for years and like them, they're still a great round.
No, and if you're the guy who's sitting on 100,000 rounds of 30-06, you're a happy camper now,
Right.
you know?
Well, that's just cool.
Well, like you said, there's so many different things you can do to these platforms. Why not have an upper for everything? If you can afford it.
guess. I'm still going to get the beer can launcher.
I was just going to say they make beer can launcher. Why not?
I mean, when you heard that, what were you thinking? Really?
I thought it was great. I made the analogy of a potato gun, which we made a couple of years ago, and we still have fun with that. That's a blast. But I could see a bunch of guys, especially like you said, boaters or whatever, using that. I could see people getting hurt with it too. Unfortunately,
I was just going to say, after like the first case of beer that you have consumed, you get whacked in the head with one of these bad boys coming out at velocity.
Hey, Cletus, watch this.
I was just going to say, you can already hear, watch this.
Hold my
All
beer.
I see is just, it would make baseball games so much more exciting if people were shooting beer cans at me, you know?
They shoot the T-shirts and stuff into the audience and stuff, the air guns.
Right.
Those are air guns.
It just took it to the next level.
We're going to go out and drink, and then we're going to have our AR that shoots beer cans from it. What could possibly go wrong here?
Right.
Let's pull Jerry in here. Jerry, you've been very patient, and I appreciate that. How are you, sir?
I've noticed, of course, with the passing on the greatest generation. There's been a plethora of really cool firearms showing up on either Facebook and similar places like that.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's not readily identifiable as a manually operated rifle or a pistol, it'd be a good idea not to post it. Because here the other day, here's somebody up in northwest Arkansas. They posted, it was more like, what is this and what is it worth? And it was a Walther VG 1-5, which it was one of the last ditch. It was a Volkstrom Gravure. It shot the little 7.2 or 7.92 by 33 cartridge.
Okay.
And, you know, of course, the wood had rotted off of it, but, I mean, it's still a viable gun, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
But it fell under SBR. Because the barrel
short barrel rifle.
Yeah, it's like 14.9 inches long. And, of course, you know, back in World War II, the Krauts didn't care anything about, you know, what an SBR was over here.
Right.
And you fit it in your duffel bag and you're good to go.
Okay.
You know, it's just...
somebody's father or grandfather brought this thing back from the war as a war trophy, and now somebody put a picture of it somewhere, and then somebody else looks at it and goes, you do realize that is a regulated, prohibited item if you don't have your $200 tax stamp for it.
Oh, yeah. Well, I made them aware of it. You know, get that off of there before you get thrown in prison. You know, it's worth $10,000 in 10 years, so...
Right. Well, the other thing is just putting information online about your gun collection when it's identified with who you are and where you live. Does that cause anybody any concerns?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'd say you're asking for trouble. You're inviting...
Well, you know, and then this other thing that people do a lot of times is, we're going on vacation to Upper Peninsula, and we're going to be going till, you know, this exists date and this and this time. It's just the more information you've got out there, don't you think that's more of a liability?
Here's a picture of our 35 guns. We're taking 2 of them up north next Wednesday through Sunday.
My cousin bought me one of those TV timers so it looks like somebody's home.
And our watchdog's staying with the neighbor, so we should be good.
You know, I mean, my attitude is, if you want to post stuff to your Facebook page about your trip, wait till you get home, but don't do continuous postings that tell people, we're out of town. There's no one home right now.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I like the geotags that are on there.
Oh, yeah.
Having a good time discreetly on vacation. Posted from Ishpeming, Michigan.
Yeah, by the way, turn if you have your iPhones and various phones, turn off the location feature on the photographs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you don't want to have any kind of geotag, location tag on any of your photographs,
especially if you have kids.
Oh yeah,
especially if you have kids. No, it's exactly right. Because I've actually read a story where a guy. This is interesting. He was at the Golden Gate Bridge. He was watching a bunch of people taking pictures, and he found this attractive lady there taking pictures. He shot a picture of her, and just as he was a security guy. And then he said, I wonder if I can actually find her. And then he did some kind of search with Facebook or whatever for pictures of the Golden Gate Bridge at that time, found her pictures, and was able to keep drilling down, and he published, without identifying who she was, what he was able to find out about her just from that, because she had geolocated her pictures on there.
That's
surprising.
Scary.
You know, I did this the other day. Google, I have an Android phone. Google, it's a feature most people don't know about, will save every bit of location data ever. And you can go online, and you can look up your location history forever. And I didn't think that this was true. I checked it for last month. It has everywhere I have been the entire month, everywhere I stopped, how long I was there. You can see this crazy routine. It would not be hard to find me. And I went in there and I manually deleted each and every month I could get my hands on, just because that's not information I need out there right now. I'm never going to need that information.
What program is doing this?
This is Google's Location Services. If you have Google Location Services on in your phone at all, even if it's not GPS, you can go to Google. If you just do a Google search for history,
is this because
history.
It's an Android phone? I mean, I have an iPhone.
They all do it. No, Google makes it really easy to find this information, is all I'm saying. Now, I don't know how to access it easily on iPhone. I'm sure it's probably not too difficult. But if you go into a Google search and just type location history with an Android phone, it'll pull up every bit of everywhere you've ever been.
I just dropped my phone into a big tub of water to kill it. I don't want it to...
wear a lead jacket around it, you know. seriously, but it's pretty scary.
Jim, I can't make it into work. My truck's broke down. Let me check your Google location.
That's what I was just going to say. Are you sure it was actual, not your AAA application that you
what it is,
to be able
they
to
know
find you?
where I go too. Thank you very much for that. But
they just have a pin in the map for everywhere you break down.
They probably have an office
they just have them
pool.
sitting there waiting.
They have an office pool. Where do you think Mike was going to break down this week?
Yeah.
No.
Who'll probably driving by to go to work here?
All right, Harriet, it's your week to talk with Michael. Okay, you can deal with him.
It is actually scary. You try not to be paranoid with all the technology that we have, but the amount of tracking information that is out there is just absolutely incredible. And I don't think we spend enough time with our devices to know how they work and function.
Another thing is, don't ever just, I agree, read in these stupid legal forms, read them. And secondarily, when a software suite is free or free for the day or discounted now, you're not getting a deal. Believe me, they're getting their money's worth out of you.
Did you see the story that like 8 of the top 10 flashlight apps are all spyware?
Yep.
That was just
same with a lot of keyboards, replacement keyboard skins, themes. A lot of that. Now, you don't run into so much with that with Apple because they are so stringent with what they allow on their app store.
Right.
But, it's still, you get some of it, some reporting back that you don't want. And Android, generally, they've gotten pretty good about permissions. They make sure that every company or every piece of software you buy tells you exactly what it's going to be doing to your phone, which is good to know because, like you said, I don't want a flashlight, looking up my address book. Why would it need to know that information?
Well, here's devil's advocate, just like the gun world. Well, if you're not doing anything wrong, why do you care who knows? There's a lot of people
because
out there
laws
that
change
think that
overnight.
Yeah,
and
a lot of
what I'm doing right now may be legal today, but may not tomorrow.
There are a lot of people who think that way, but we do need a steady supply of victims.
Victim pool, yeah.
You got to restock that victim pool, and there are a lot of people who are willing to volunteer for it. Now, here's a conversation I had this week. It's kind of along the same lines. I'm talking to one of these gun makers. And they said, we've instituted a very cool, it's really helped us with our inventory, RFID. I'm going, what? Stop. Yeah, we're putting RFID chips. And I'm thinking, you put them in the guns? We've been on this road before where they actually put them into the guns. Yeah. And I said, you're not putting them in the guns, are you? They said, oh, no. I said, okay, what are we doing here? They said, no, we're very aware of that. But they're putting RFID chips in the hang tag on the gun. And that way, when a pallet comes in, they just run the whole pallet through the scanner, and it does a complete inventory run and prints it out or puts it in the computer. And then for the dealer, they could do that. But as soon as you get it, when you take the hang tag off the gun and throw it away, that thing's gone.
That's good.
So I went, okay, at least they're aware.
A lot of people don't. No, I'm sorry, Tom.
No. Well, they're aware of how paranoid we are. That's where I was going.
Right.
Well, and I think one of the things that we need to touch on is without our sport getting into the hands of the younger generation, the upcoming generations, we're in our own death, I guess, basically, a slow death. And the technology that exists for these young kids, they all have phones, 8, 9, 10-year-olds. The amount of them that have phones is incredible. But
they also have no idea what privacy is.
Exactly. And that's what I was going to get to. The parents need to just watch over them as far as their firearms go. You really need to make sure that you know what they're doing with the technology that you've just placed in their hands. Smartphones are great, but they're smarter than we are.
Yeah, well, it's the fine print, truly.
Right. It's just, it's naive, not naive as to the aspect of an adult. It's not knowing, and it's a security, and
the
it's
perceived
false.
instant gratification that we get from these devices right off the bat seems to kind of counteract the negativity, the fine print, the things that, the bad things that could happen to us because of these devices is so obscure and not in our face. I can look that up for you right now, hold on a second, or check out this picture I just took of my daughter,
I'm sorry, did you say something? I was texting.
They've not been jaded by the world. They have a false pretense of security.
Yep.
All right, to spin this back to the whole online world and the screens and such, I had conversations with several manufacturers this week. I said, look, because everybody in the firearms industry is talking about how do we get youngsters involved in shooting sports and how do we get them, because we're not growing up on the farms and all that's changed, all the stuff that we talked about before. I said, are you putting any money into marketing your guns, your firearms, through games? And you would have thought I was speaking Martian. And I said, like, okay, go to, pick one, Call of Duty. Give them $1 million to include your whole product line in there. You will build an entire generation of young people who know your products.
It's a great idea. They do it a lot already. Some of them.
Some do.
Yep.
And these kids who play Call of Duty, they know every gun, every optic, every aim point, every EOTech, every ACOG, everything that's in the game. They know it, in detail. And I'm thinking, for an outreach program, if you want this generation, and when they're done, you know what they want to do? They want to shoot the real thing. I've been playing games and shooting these guns. I want to go shoot a SCAR, for instance. I want to shoot an AR. I want to do this. I was thinking, just as an outreach marketing program, why wouldn't you do that?
Yeah, and then offer extra credit at the end of the game for taking a safety tutorial. Get extra points in game for taking a safety tutorial put on by X company. Or whatever,
I like it.
Yeah, why not? I play Battlefield series. It's a video game. I love it. It's got an SKS and a Glock in it, plus all the guns you mentioned. And I'll tell you, these games are so realistic nowadays. For the most part, you get the perfect sight picture you're going to get or want to strive for in real life. It teaches you how to use cover, concealment, and be aware of your surroundings. I can't think of anything better to do for practice, indoors.
And if that's, you have to go, basic marketing concept is you have to go where people are. If that's where they are and they're already primed to be interested in firearms, you need to put your message in front of them. Whether it's a product message, as I'm talking about, or a safety message, which is what Michael's talking about, I think both of them apply, and you put it to where people are.
That's a great idea. You can't teach it in schools anymore.
No. Talk about geezing. I'm doing the old guy geezing over here. I do remember there being firearms for the whole school assembly. And when I was in the 7th grade, and they're teaching people to aim, and we're talking about Springfield rifles in school, and the whole school was brought in for firearm safety training. It was
awesome,
totally different time.
Yeah, different time. There you go. Well, I tell you what we need to do is you guys need to go shoot some more. I guess the question is, were you able to find ammo, 38 ammo, Michael?
I wasn't able to afford how much I wanted. I picked up a box of carry ammo, and I picked up a couple of boxes, but I hadn't bought 38, and this is my first 38 special anything. I've never owned one before, so I wasn't really expected for the price jump from 9mm. I should have thought about that.
It is more expensive.
It's about double. At least where I was at today. But
do some shopping. There are people who do a lot of custom, low-price custom loads, not the high-price stuff, bulk loads of 38, and you may be able to find some online, and you actually may be able to find some in stores, because a lot of stores will get, I'm trying to think, Michelle's Georgia Ammo.
Isn't that a blue box?
There's 2 or 3 outfits that do bulk loadings, and a lot of stores will, and they'll sell them like at 500 rounds, and whether they're wad cutters or whatever. You don't care, honestly, for practice. You don't care what kind of bullet they buy.
I got a local connection for you, too. You might want some reloads if you'd like.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, this thing is so much fun to shoot. I have a feeling I'm going to be doing quite a bit of that soon.
And reloads, unlike a semi-auto with a revolver, it's really hard to jam your gun. So, whereas the reloads can cause problems in a semi-auto sometimes if they don't do a real good job with them.
Well, right before
revolver, it's all good.
Right before we went to air, I assigned Michael. I said, if you got this gun, I want you to go to Brownells and spend about 20 minutes and get a bunch of extra mags for it. He's just scratching his head.
Oh, I will tell you, though, I know a guy who carries a revolver, and, a regular revolver speed loader's shaped like the cylinder. It's round, it's kind of bulky, so it's hard to carry. He carries a 45 ACP, revolver. Doesn't use full moon clips. It's set up to headspace on the case mouth.
Wow.
He carries his extra ammo in a 1911 magazine.
What?
And so you take the magazine out, and then you just put the end of the magazine over the cylinder.
Use it like a moon clip.
You're topping it out, and you're popping rounds directly from the magazine into the empty chambers of the cylinder, turning the cylinders, popping straight out from the mag into the chamber for the reload.
It's like a Pez dispenser for your pistol.
That's pretty cool. There you go. That's what it is. Oh, my gosh, that's hilarious.
That's
I can
awesome.
see it.
It is. It's a Pez dispenser, how you're loading your revolver.
I have a bunch of old Pez's. I'm going to have to work on putting some stronger springs in there and see if I can't. You just got to pull his head back.
Something else.
No. What you're going to be now? He's going to be designing like a pop-up head that goes on top of various magazines. And he's going to sell those and make like $1 billion out of these.
That was my idea.
I just need a 3D printer and some time.
Dang it!
When he could have sold half his video games and bought a real truck.
I know. Next week, I'm going to go online and go, hello? Anybody there? Oh, no, I'm sorry, the factory's working in the back. We don't have time for this, man. We're making our mag peg Pez loaders. We've got to come up with a catchy name for them.
Oh, that's awesome. That's a good idea. I think there might be a market for it. We're just going to delete this whole segment.
Pez loaders, version 2.
Nobody will ever know. We were never here. Well, all right. As soon as we're able to talk about some of this other cool stuff, let's see. This week, what am I doing? This week on Friday, we're shooting video of a new super secret gun that we can't talk about, but it'll be out soon.
Can we talk about how we can't talk about it?
Yes, we were able to talk about that, but I can't tell you who we're doing the shoot for. This is like the coolest, weirdest time of the year because we're producing videos for these guys. So you can imagine we're having to have everybody sign NDAs. I'm including the dealer who gets the guns shipped in, the crew, the camera crew, everybody. It's a crazy time, but it's kind of fun. And what's also fun is to see that some of the stuff that's new. And Michelle, you know this, having been at it. Some of the stuff that's new and they're so excited about is really cool and new. And some of the stuff that's new and they're all excited about is a different color.
That's right. It's the same thing, but new again.
Yes. And you look at that and you're going, really?
I've seen this before. It's oddly familiar.
That's the big announcement this year?
This will revolutionize the industry.
No, you don't understand. You see, last year, we had the silver on top and the black on the bottom. And this year, the bottom of the gun is silver and the slide is black.
Oh, all right.
There's only so much that we can do that is actually, I'm going to do air quotes, new again, because you're dealing with the same design and the same platform.
It's true. I mean, come on. It's a 1911. What are you going to do to it?
Buy it.
Shoot it.
Well, you know what? I say that, but you know what I saw in several booths? And I'm so glad to see this. 9mm 1911.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
So sweet. Oh, my gosh. It's just so great to shoot.
It's a platform unlike anything else at 1911.
Yep.
Super.
A sweet 9mm 1911. Go ahead. If you're going to shoot at the range, get an all-steel one. Don't get the lightweight one. It is just no recoil to speak of. Sweet to shoot. And the ammo is, half the price of .45?
Yeah.
Yep. And 9mm ammo is just cheap.
Well, and lots of times you can find that as a lost lead in a store.
The 9mm ammo?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so pay attention.
Okay. And when you find it, buy it, which brings me back to how we started the whole show today. This is a crazy time, and this is only a matter of weeks this is going to last, when people have these special promotions and these great prices. By January of next year, this thing is going to be over because they will have cleared out the inventory. That's all they're doing right now. The distributors are getting rid of their inventory. The dealers are trying to move it out. They're trying to make room for the new stuff. But we're going to have about 3, maybe as much as 3 months.
Plus we never know what's on the legislative forefront.
Right. But, what happens is people wait until there's a rush, and then they go buy at inflated prices. Mm-hmm. Now's the time to buy if you're thinking, I'll do that one of these days. No, right now. Go ahead and buy that extra gun, buy that extra, like you're talking about, Michelle. When they're having a lost leader, go ahead and pick up 1,000 rounds, stick them in the back.
Right. Take advantage of the time.
That's it.
Well, before you said that most guns aren't usually a good investment if you're looking to just make money on them. Now might be the exception. You got this much surplus. If you can afford to throw a bunch of money into guns and hang on to them, in a year or two, they may be worth a little bit more than you paid for them.
Could be, but of course, what we really do is we end up just buying more guns and keeping them and never letting them go again.
Shh, Tom. It was an investment, honey. I thought we'd make money on them.
Shit, that's why we do this on the after show. Nobody actually listens. There we go. All right, guys. Well, the deal here is we want range reports, Michael, from this gun next week, okay?
You got it. I'll take video even, too.
All right, guys. Well, you have yourself a good week, and we'll do it again next time.
Thanks,
Take
buddy.
care.
See ya.
Hey, how'd you like the Gun Talk After Show? Pretty cool, huh? Yeah, we stick around after the regular radio broadcast and just have a little fun. You can get it on your computer, or better yet, have you heard about the new Gun Talk app for your Android or iPhone? That makes it real easy. Download it today in the App Store. You can use your iPod too. Join us again right here next week for the Gun Talk After Show with Tom, Jim, Michelle, and Michael. It's always worth it, and it's never boring, I can tell you that. We'll see you next week. We're hanging out at guntalk.com. Meet us there.